The 2026 FIFA World Cup is getting closer and almost no one is paying attention to this altcoin. In the end, Chiliz directly connects crypto with real football fans. And that could be exactly the reason why CHZ suddenly explodes. Welcome to 10x Invest, your channel for honest, data-driven crypto and stock analyses without the hype. Today we'll be analyzing Chiliz together, an altcoin as mentioned that wants to connect crypto with sports. So it's already super exciting. And Chiliz is not a classic cryptocurrency. The coin was built specifically for sports and entertainment. Technically, Chiliz runs on its own blockchain. This blockchain is compatible with Ethereum, which is extremely good. This means developers can easily use well-known crypto applications. The core product of Chiliz is called Fan Token. With this token, fans can ultimately have a say in their clubs more easily, for example in votes or through exclusive actions and rewards. And the problem behind this, I think, is simple. In the end, fans have hardly any real involvement in their own club. And Chiliz solves this by enabling digital participation. Completely transparent, traceable, and directly via the blockchain. The special feature of Chiliz in the end is this: its real-world use. Over 80 major sports clubs are already involved. That's a lot. As mentioned in football, motorsports, but also in esports. So Chiliz is not a meme coin here, but ultimately an infrastructure for sports crypto, also known as SportFi. And this is exactly where the long-term thinking behind it lies. And that's what makes it so exciting. Let's move on to the 20 key metrics. The market capitalization. Chiliz is no longer a small coin, but it's also not a massive giant yet. The market cap is in the mid-cap range. Of course, coins in this range often have greater potential than high-cap altcoins. Chiliz was much higher in 2021, but then came the crash. The question now, of course, is whether Chiliz can make a comeback or if it will continue to lag behind. The circulating supply. This is where things get very interesting again. 100% of the tokens are already in circulation, which is a good thing at first glance. There are no hidden releases or unlocks here. The roadmap. Chiliz has a clear vision here, moving away from being just a simple fan token toward a sports ecosystem with real-world applications. That's obviously super exciting. But above all, it also involves digital ownership and of course participation in decision-making. Many of the milestones have already been implemented and achieved. Other milestones are quite ambitious, but not unrealistic. The team. Chiliz is not backed by an anonymous team, but by a founder who has been active in the sports and tech sectors for years. The team knows partnerships and ultimately knows how to work with big brands. However, there is some internal criticism. But strategically, the team is strong. Well positioned, the narrative. Chiliz stands for SportFi, meaning the connection between sports and blockchain. And this isn't just a trend for a month, but of course a long-term trend, because sports are global. Emotions are constant. And this is exactly where Chiliz comes in. Not positioned in the mainstream, but clearly for the fans. Problem and solution. Today fans have hardly any real say. But Chiliz is changing that with voting, rewards, and direct participation. The clubs essentially earn and fans continue to feel connected. And of course, this solves a real problem and is a real solution. Sustainability. Chiliz uses an energy-efficient system, no mining, and also no high electricity consumption, which is a positive thing. As mentioned, this is important for major brands and, of course, for regulation as well. It's not exactly a green savior, but it's still set up cleanly. Investors and capital. Chiliz was supported early on by well-known investors, so the project is well funded and today is largely independent. They don't need constant fundraising or face capital pressure. The competition. Chiliz is the market leader in the sports crypto sector, but yes, of course the competition isn't sleeping. Other projects are also targeting certain segments. Data, fan interaction, infrastructure. By the way, if you're interested in the competition, be sure to check out my other analyses. Take a look at the 10x Universe playlist. The link is in the video description. The marketing. Chiliz relies on partnerships, not influencer hype, which is a good thing. Of course, they work together with football clubs, with leagues, with events. The marketing here is extremely visible, but very focused. The simplicity of the idea. A fan buys a token, a fan votes, a fan gets their benefits. Pretty simple, even for people without crypto knowledge. The long-term vision. Chiliz is thinking ahead to 2030, not just to the next cycle. Sports, digital rights, tokenized shares? Big vision, but as always, there are risks. Supply and deflation. Chiliz does not have a fixed upper limit. That's a disadvantage. But there are mechanisms that are supposed to balance things out a bit. But there is no hard scarcity. The fully diluted market capitalization. Since they don't have a fixed upper limit, it's always difficult to assess. Here, they're on par. The volume. Chiliz is heavily traded, has good liquidity and low spreads. That already shows the interest in this altcoin, also from major players. So a positive rating here. The token distribution. The vesting period, meaning the lockup period, has already ended. That's good. There won't be any new surprises here. That brings a certain level of stability for now. The top coin holders. Some large wallets hold a lot of tokens. That is definitely a risk. Not an extreme one, but it is a risk. You have to be careful. The utility. CHZ, the coin, is used for fees, for staking of course as a fan token, and for voting rights. It's not a dead coin, but is actually actively used. The community. Yes, they have a large community, very active, especially of course in the sports sector, which is positive. The question now is, do you already know Chiliz? Are you even a fan or holder of Chiliz? Write it in the comments, #Chiliz. So, how do events come about? The 2026 FIFA World Cup. New features, new voting rights, many triggers, but of course also a certain level of expectation pressure. Chiliz achieves a score of 78.5% on my 10 times ranking list. That's a solid value, but not extremely strong either. One has to say that honestly. That is mainly due to the tokenomics, but they also have strengths. Real partners from the sports world. Actual users. The FIFA World Cup, which is coming soon, could of course reignite the hype. Now you're probably asking yourself, because the price scenarios up to 2030. Now together we'll do another chart analysis with various price scenarios and ultimately a conclusion as well. Alright, let's jump straight into the chart analysis for Chiliz. As always at the beginning, I first go through the different price scenarios. There are always 4 of them calculated mathematically. And after that, we'll also take a look at the current chart using the 10x indicator and how I assess the situation at the moment. So the bear scenario would be 2 cents US dollars. That would be minus 48.49% from now. If you look here, it even briefly dropped below that at one point, but that always depends a bit on the exchange. By the way, I use Wix for small cap altcoins, for example, or otherwise, as always. Swissborg, you'll find the link in the video description. There's even a bonus if you sign up. Let's move on. The normal scenario puts us at 8 cents. Let's take another look at the whole thing. From now on, that would be about 107%. If you think about it, by the way, up here was the all-time high at around 16.7 cents. Exactly, that's the normal scenario. Let's move on to another scenario. We have to go a bit higher. The bull scenario is at 20 cents. That would be about 418% from now. That would be a bit above the all-time high. Also a massive increase. As I said, this is mathematically calculated based on what is theoretically possible according to the market capitalization. No one can predict the future exactly. In the end, you can only create scenarios. So what does Vision 2030 look like now? That would basically be 2030, actually already after the next bull run, but I always use 2030 as a number because that's roughly when the next bull run will be. But let's go there for a moment. It will probably be more like 2028 or 2029, but let's see. Again, from now until then, that would be 1180%, so about an 11x, a bit more actually, around a 12x. That would of course already be a considerable increase compared to now. But now the question you've probably been asking yourself the whole time is, when is it sensible to enter? What would I personally do now? Let's take a look at the current situation. We had a big green dot here from the indicator, which means we were oversold. Green dots always indicate oversold zones. And then here we moved upwards. And then the indicator showed a big red dot. That means we are overbought. In other words, a lot of people bought in, FOMO kicked in. Now this could possibly be a top. Then after that formed, we actually went down by 50%. Current situation. As you can see, it's a bit of a roller coaster ride. By the way, small dots indicate trend changes. So here we recently had one just on the 12th. April, so today we had or have formed a small red dot, which theoretically suggests that there could be a bearish trend reversal. In other words, we could go further down. We have to see if this gets confirmed, but that's why I would currently be cautious with Chiliz, or generally with altcoins, be careful. When I ultimately enter altcoins, and especially Bitcoin, when I do DCA, I use my indicator based on data. I don't trade based on FOMO, that is fear of missing out, or FUD, that is on any bad news or anything like that, but I trade data-driven according to my indicator. And if you want to use the indicator yourself for your analyses, then you can get it. On the one hand, in my 10x Elite, I recommend this if you want the complete package. I'm sharing all my knowledge there. Or you can simply get the indicator separately. I'll link all the information here now. You can scan the QR codes or check below in the video description. Everything is explained there in detail as well when you follow the link. So now that you know everything about Chiliz, I'm linking you to another altcoin here that's also extremely exciting. I can only recommend it to you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video right here.